What's up, everybody? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Marvel Legends Amazon exclusive Alpha Flight box set. This is a pretty cool looking box set. I'm really pleased with how the whole overall product turned out as far as the packaging goes that we're staring at right here. I think this was a smart idea to actually give us the rest of the team all in one box set, and this way you don't have to do an exclusive wave, or you don't have to release each figure as a Walgreens exclusive one by one. I think this would have made more sense for the Fantastic Four as well if we would have just got that box set instead of splitting them up separately. But regardless, I'm pretty pleased with how this the idea of doing this with maybe smaller, less known teams down the road. Maybe we get an Inhumans box set down the road to finish off the team, excuse me. But taking a look at the box set here, it just says Marvel 80 years, and this is Legends series Alpha Flight. It's got the picture of the entire team right here, and it says Alpha Flight on the top of the box. And it's got a picture of all of the characters. Obviously, they have to put Marvels in front of it because, like, we don't know that this is Marvel Legends. And then you could have just put Puck, Vindicator, Northstar, Aurora, Snowbird, and Shaman. And then on the back, we've got the rest of the team right here. Looks pretty cool. Very pleased with it. On the other side, it pretty much mirrors. Open it up, and that's what we have on the inside. The rest of the team. Just a very short, the shortest read-up you'll ever see. And then here is the entire team in the box set. Sorry, I have glare. Nothing really I can do about that. There we go. So there's the entire box set. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get these ladies and gentlemen out of the box, and we'll be right back. Okay, so the first figure we're going to talk about is Puck. Now, a lot of this is a re-release of the Build-A-Figure Puck that we got years ago, except for the head. The head is actually a new head. I'm not really sure why they decided to go with the new head route, but it does give a little bit more character to him as far as the figure does go. The paint shading is also a little bit different here. I'm going to bring in the Build-A-Figure here. This is the Build-A-Figure. This is the box set release. And as you can see, the head is different. So we did get a new sculpt for the head. The rest of the body is just a reuse, which I actually don't mind. I think, there was nothing wrong with the body before. You can't actually get him to do a handstand with this hand. So I didn't actually mind the body being reused. The P for Puck on his chest is a little bit more of like a metallic orange right there, where you have a more flat for the Build-A-Figure. The Build-A-Figure is on the left. That's the Build-A-Figure. This is the box set release. There's also a little bit more sculpted detail for the head sculpt as far as like the ear protectors go. It almost looks like wrestling headgear, kind of. Yeah, so as far as the head sculpts do go, also this head on the box set release is also a little bit larger than the Build-A-Figure. The Build-A-Figure is a little bit smaller, in case you didn't realize that. But I think I actually prefer this head sculpt a little bit better. It gives a little bit more as far as character to the figure. The paint shading, I want to say, is kind of similar. It's a little bit different, obviously, in the arms, going down the arm and such. On the legs, it's a little bit different as well. Same sculpt and everything, nothing really else has changed. But I do prefer this head sculpt, and I think I prefer this figure more so to this figure where he's kind of like a glossier plastic, and it's got a flat P, where this is more of like a flat black with a metallic P, and I think it helps stand out a lot better. The eyes, unfortunately, on mine are a little bit off, as you can see right there. The eyes on him are a little bit better. I do like the mustachio he's got here a little bit better than the Build-A-Figure. but that's just me personal preference wise. So he's definitely got the better head, better head for eyes, as opposed to this one. Now this could just be mine. It could just be a one-off. Maybe you'll have a box set with better eyes aligned. But here's the back of the figure. It's the same exact sculpt. He's got like an uneven butt. It's weird. It's like one butt cheek is higher than the other one. The heck is that about? But the boots are the same. This one's just more of a flat black, and same thing goes for the wristbands or the gauntlets. It's a flat black here, where this is a little bit more of a glossier black right there. So there it is. Articulation is exactly the same. I'll just run through it really quick. Arms or head can swivel at a full 360 rotation. It's on a hinge joint. Let me check and see if the old one was on a hinge joint. Yes, it was. Okay. Head goes up, head goes down. Head can tilt a little bit side to side. Let's see, guys, some job turkeys. Oh, yeah, we got some job turkeys over here. So there's the job turkeys. Arms go up about that far. They go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm. No bicep swivel because he's got a elbow bend and a swivel at the elbow. He also has a swivel at the wrist. No hinge at either one. Just a swivel. No swivel at the waist. No waist articulation. No ab crunch or anything like that. But he can do the splits about that far. That's about it, which is kind of, you know, we're already not getting waist articulation or anything like that. At least free up those hips a little bit more. He's supposed to be acrobatic after all. It would have been cool if we could get him in a ball form too. Or if we got an extra figure in the set that was in like a ball form, you know, just saying. But the legs can go forward about this far. Oh, there we go. He's got to push it up a little bit more. And he's got a single bend at the knee. He does have a swivel at the boot. Points the toe. He points the heel. He's got a peg hole at the bottom of his foot, and he does have ankle pivot. And that's, I mean, that's pretty much it for Puck. I mean, there's not really much else to say that hasn't already been said. I'm pretty sure I already did a review of the Build-A-Figure Puck a long time ago. So if you want to check that out, you can in my archive videos of my Marvel Legends and such. Just to note, he also does have a little bit of a swivel right here, or a little bit of a pivot, I should say, in the upper thigh joint, very similar to maybe like a SH Figuarts. Just to point that out. So, but yeah, there's Puck. Like I said, I think I like the paint apps on him a little bit better, except for the eyes being aligned. I do like this, the largeness, the largerness. That's not a word. I like that the head is larger on this version than the other one, and I like the mustache better. And I think the paint apps overall are a little bit upgraded with the new one. Okay, next up we've got Vindicator, and I guess I'm going to go from my least favorite to my favorite of the box set in this. You know, I was pretty excited that we were getting Vindicator, and that it is her, and that she did take over the mantle of Vindicator, and Guardian went back to being just Guardian. And I was pretty excited about getting her, and there's issue number one. Issue number one was, with all the females in this box set, let me just put this out there right away. With all the females in this box set, be sure to really heat up these arms. They are extremely stiff in packaging, and you really want to heat them up so you can get them loose. The pegs are very, very skinny on these elbow joints, and I did have some issues with them freezing up. So I heated them up. I would tend to use a little bit of the hot water method as opposed to like a heat gun or a hair dryer or whatever you want to use. But I would definitely heat up these elbows before you start bending them. Don't just take them straight out of package, start bending them. You know, tend to, you know, heat them up a little bit more. I would just do that with all figures from now on, straight out of packaging, because you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. As far as Vindicator goes, I mean, you can already see some of the issues she does have. My issue is that one of her feet they're kind of, they don't want to stand. I don't know why we're still stuck on stupid with this old teen body, that the ankles are in kind of like, they're not a smooth articulated point or range of motion. It's like a ratchet for some reason, and it's like they're ratcheted, but where they're ratcheted, they don't line up properly. So you have to get her in this like wide stance constantly. The whites do not match up at all. I want to say that this is like a pearlescent white, where this is more of like a, I want to say, it's almost like this is like a cream white, and then this is like a metallic white for the plastic, and you can tell that's just the plastic, and then the red going over the white plastic is just not looking good. It looks fuzzy, it looks hazy. I know it's tough. I know it is tough for when painting or dealing with white plastics is a little bit more difficult, but I don't know. They could have outlined this a little bit better. This is the same issue that I had with Guardian, was that the reds don't match up. While I am happy to have the character, I feel like they could have done a little bit more, given a little bit more TLC to the quality control as far as some of the paint apps go for the chest area, and then the legs not being, they're obviously two different white colors here. I think I would have just preferred you just go with a flat white, as opposed to like trying to do too much. And then this like this, what was it, this forearm area, this is actually the same color as the leg, but then the thigh, the upper thigh joint and the torso piece are different white. I don't know what's going on with that. It's you can see it right here mostly, and then if you really look, you can kind of see the haziness of this white right here. So it's something to point out. I don't know. I mean, it's going to bother some people more than others. If you really don't care, you're just happy to have the character, then this is a moot point. But I do have to point it out because it is kind of glaring once you have this figure in hand. We've always had kind of issues with Marvel Legends and their box sets. And we had that issue with the X-Men, all new X-Men box set with the poor paint apps, excuse me. The paint apps on the hair though look really good. I like the shading on the hair. The hair looks nice. The head sculpt looks good. I don't have any issues with the head sculpt. Some people might say it's a little bit large, but I don't care. She's wearing essentially a helmet, so doesn't bother me too much. I like the lips, the little bit of a like lipstick for the glossy lipstick for the lips. The big the big eye visor, I like that. Looks good. And like I said, the hair looks very well done, nicely sculpted and then nicely painted on top of that. Let me just turn her around so you can see the back of the hair. Just have a gaping peg hole right there. Just to point that out. I don't know why. It's not like a bad thing or anything. Obviously, you can see some more of the haziness from the paint right here. So, I mean, there's not really too much to tell with a lot of these figures. They don't really come with any accessories. Shaman doesn't come with anything. Nobody comes with really anything. I guess if you want to include the cape on Snowbird as an accessory, but it's attached to the body, so I don't really include that. So no effects at all for a box set that probably should come with some sort of effects. I don't know really much else to say except for let's go through articulation here. Her head can swivel at a full 360 if you need to. Her head can go up about that far. Let's see if we can push it a little bit more. Like I said, her neck peg is extremely, and I mean extremely stiff. And I already heated this figure up, and it's still not wanting to. There we go. Okay. So her head can go way far back, and as you can see, it's sitting on that peg joint, not very flush. It looks like she's got a floating head when you point that back. So that's another quality control concern that I would look out for. Hopefully it's not with everybody's box set. Maybe it's just with mine, hopefully. And then you won't have this issue. It just doesn't want to seat on that head. So I might get in there with a Dremel and Dremel that a little bit more so it sits a little bit better than that. Good Lord. we're talking, this is like quality control back from the original Jean Grey when she came out with her head sitting up too high. But anyway, her head can also look down. She can really look down. It's due to that peg joint looking so high up. As far as looking at her head on, the head does sit a little high on the neck, but, you know, it's not the end of the world. I don't really care about that. It's just when you look at it from the back or the side, it looks awful. Or if you get her into like a flight pose, you're going to want to make sure it's pointed this way or downward so you don't look like that. Ooh, woof. But let's see if she's got some job turkeys. A little turkey, just a little gobble, just a little bit. The arms go up about that far. Let me move this camera up. Arms go up about that far, down, full 360 rotation in the arm. She's got a swivel at the elbow like we're used to with all the women, and it extends about that far. She does have a hinge joint in the hand and a swivel. She has a diaphragm joint which does pivot. It can swivel, very limited, can crunch back, forward, and that's pretty much it for that. She can only do the splits about that far, which is atrocious. Legs go forward, legs go back about that far due to the sculpting of the rear end. Upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee. She does point the toe, points the heel, ankle pivot, and 2 peg holes. And that is pretty much it. Like I said, no accessories. She doesn't come with extra hands, no energy effects. The hair you can swivel, just so you know. Let's see if my hair is going to fall out. It feels like it's going to fall out. I hope it doesn't fall out, but you can move it. So there is that point to make. There's another point of articulation right there that I almost missed. Good job, Anthony. But that's Vindicator for you. Okay, next up we've got Northstar, and unfortunately he is next, and his paint apps are just way too inconsistent. He's got a ton of like hazy white paint going throughout with the plastic. It just doesn't look good, to be honest with you. Let me just point out some facts here. This white is like more of like a marbleized white, where this is like a pearlescent white right here. That's what I was trying to say with Vindicator as well. It's like that marbleized Marvel Legends style white, and then we've got the pearlescent white right here. It's almost like a cream white. For the shoulder and the butterfly joint inside and the gloves and the boots. This is more of a flat white, or what's similar to this, marbleized white, marbleized white, marbleized white, marbleized white, marbleized white. And then you've got the 2 different types of white. So it does throw it off a little bit. Like I said, I know I have to point it out because it's part of the review. He also has some like loose joints in his leg. It's a little bit looser than I'd like, where this does bend. It does like move quite a bit. It's kind of like jiggly. It's just something I need to point out, just as a beware, a buyer beware point. The head sculpt looks fantastic, though. I really like this head sculpt quite a bit. It kind of reminds me of Legion of Superheroes Cosmic Boy. So if you wanted to go with maybe like a Marvel Legends style Cosmic Boy, you could totally go with this head for Cosmic Boy if you wanted to. I know it does have kind of like the pointy elf ears, but you could still, I think you could pass it off for Cosmic Boy. Anyway, that little DC anecdote out of the way. This is on the one of the Spider-Man bodies. Whatever. It's on a Spider-Man body, we know. But like I said, the head sculpt looks really good. The eyes look pretty good. The skin tone looks nice. The hair looks really cool. I really like the sculpting of this hair. Looks very nicely done. But other than the paint apps, and a little bit of the loose joints, loosey-goosey joints, he's not a horrible figure. I think I've seen worse paint apps on better figures, but if that makes sense. But as far as his articulation does go, his head can swivel full 360 rotation. His head can look back in the flight pose like so. His head can look down. His head can pivot side to side. Let's see if we got job turkeys. A little turkey, a little gobble. Little gobble. Arms go up, down, full 360 rotation. He does have the butterfly joint, and that's what the butterfly joint looks in the back. If you want to see how it's going to line up, that's how you would line it up. And then this side as well, like right around there. That's how you would line that side up. But maybe it's a little bit off. There we go. Okay, so like that. So the line work is a little bit off, just to point it out, because I know somebody will ask me. Butterfly joint, he does have, or butterfly joint. Bicep swivel, stupid. And then we have a double jointed elbow, which isn't the best with range of motion, I guess. It's okay. And then we have a swivel at the wrist, a hinge joint, mirrors on the other side. Ab crunch, which does crunch back, and the sculpting does break up. Does crunch forward. The sculpting also breaks up. Waist joint. You can do the splits about that far, which is still kind of pathetic. But legs go forward, legs go back, upper thigh swivel, a double jointed knee. He does have a boot swivel, points to toe, points to heel, ankle pivot, 2 peg holes. And yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say. I mean, I'm happy to have the character, and thank you, Hasbro, for pumping out more characters, but I feel like this is a case of quantity over quality with this. It's like they just kind of threw some shit together in a box, and we're like, oh, well, we gave them those characters, so now we can check those off the list. We don't ever have to do those again, you know? So, I don't know. That's kind of what I feel like with this guy. I was really stoked to get him, and kind of let down, especially the different paint apps on the upper torso and the legs. It's just, it does kind of throw away the wonderful head sculpt that we have here. Like I said, it does look really good as far as that head sculpt goes. Very pleased with it overall. But unfortunately, the rest of the body is kind of a poo fest. So, but I don't know. That's just my opinion on him. Not too impressed here. But that's pretty much it for Northstar. And moving on. Whee! Okay, next up we have Aurora, which is the sister to Northstar. And, you know, I got to say that she's probably one of the best with the paint apps as far as how crisp they look and how clean they look. The whites all match, which this just baffles me right here, is that you can match these whites on her, but you couldn't match all the whites on Vindicator and Northstar. It just absolutely baffles the shit out of me that they couldn't pay attention to what they were doing there. Maybe it's because the body's on a black body, but then again, so is Northstar, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. There is a little bit of haziness right here in the paint apps on the belly, but all the paint apps are the exact same white. The white here is the same as the white here. The white, well, it's all one sculpt. There's no breakup of the sculpt either. The white here is the same as the white here on the gloves, everything on the boots. Everything is the same. The face sculpt looks very good. I really like it. Loving the little bit of the pointy ear right there. That's perfect for her and Northstar. I like the way the hair sculpt is. Very nicely done as far as the head sculpt goes. The eyes don't look too crazy. I think they're off just a little bit. Yeah, they're off a little bit. But I really like the bone structure for the face. Everything looks very well done as far as the sculpt goes. The hair looks cool. And it's all new head sculpts for all of these characters, including Puck. So I can appreciate that. But the quality of the paint on the bodies are just... whew. But the head can swivel. The head can look back. Even with the hair sculpt, she can look back about that far. Well, that's not too far. Let's see if I can get her to go in and out. It is on a hinge joint, though. The head can look down. the head can pivot side to side. Let's see if she's got some drive turkey. Oh, look at them turkeys. Oh, look at them turkeys, girl. There you go. Good job. Arms go up, down, full 360 rotation at the arm. She does have a swivel. Now, this is the one where I had the most issue with as far as the... Oh, she's got a little bit of the bobblehead, too. But this was the one where I had the issue, as you can see right here. Let me back up a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and we'll focus on that elbow joint. She was the culprit with the worst elbow joint. Her elbow joints were extremely frozen. And they're also kind of protruding out. I don't know how well you guys can see this. Let me try and get in here. You can see right there. See how there's it's not flush right here? That's just one sign of breakage to me. So, or a future breakage, I should say, down the road. It screams future breakage. So there's that. But she does have a single jointed elbow, which does get a really good range of motion with that elbow. So that's nicely done. She does have a swivel at the elbow as well. And she does have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge joint, which does mirror on the other side the way the hinge is. She does have a diaphragm joint, which does swivel. And it can crunch forward and back. Not so great. Not so great right there. It can pivot a little bit. That's about it. She's kind of frozen up top. The legs go out in a decent split. Kind of wish it was a little bit better. Upper thigh swivel. The thigh joint up here does swivel, move a little bit. So there's that as well. It does have a double jointed knee. And let's get that full. There we go. Full range there for you. Foot goes forward, foot does go back, 2 peg holes and the ankle pivot. There is something to note here with the hinge joint. This is a different white than that white. So for the hinge itself, it's a different white. Just to point that out in case someone was inquiring or somebody noticed and they didn't think I noticed. Oh, I noticed. Where are you from? I'm from Aurora, Illinois. Swing. Okay, next up we've got Snowbird. Snowbird, and this was actually kind of tough. I think she's one of the best in the box set. The cape is makes her a little bit back heavy on these kind of weaker, wobbly legs. She does have a little bit of case of the wobbly knee joint where it's kind of, there's a little bit of play in there. This ankle is also kind of weak, or loose, I should say. Right out of package, and it's kind of tending her to want to lean forward, and it doesn't take much for her to do so. Obviously, I know you have to balance the figure better when posing, but I'm just saying, for a figure that you just set down and you're hoping to stand, she is kind of, like I said, this wants to move, then this wants to move forward constantly, so it's moving back and then moving forward, and it's not helping any of the balance out for the rest of the figure. The cape is rather heavy, but it is a pliable plastic. It is like a metallic blue, and then we have the same metallic blues here, so it is consistent going throughout as far as the gloves, the line work on the body, and the legs themselves. It is pretty consistent with the cape and even the little gem or jewel on her head crest. Looks really cool. I really like the blacked out eyes with the white pupils. That looks very well done. I really like the skin tone for her. I think she's got the best skin tone in this box set. I really like the blonde eyebrows. The blonde hair looks very well done. It's actually like a little bit of shading going throughout the hair. I don't know if I necessarily like it, though, now that I'm really looking at it. It kind of looks like she was dragged across the floor on like a dusty floor, and she got dust all in her hair. I kind of think I would have preferred her hair to just be the natural blonde color instead of putting this like black shit in. I don't know what's going on here with the hair. Yikes. Magoo. So I'm not really sure what they were thinking with that. Maybe it's just a QC issue, and I'm the only one that has this issue, but I'm pretty sure that's black paint shading. That's not like dirt or grime or anything. That's in the paint. So it just kind of looks like, all right, you know when you were like a kid and you would kind of like bang your toys on something, or they would bounce off, or you would clang your toys together when you were really, really little, didn't know any better, and then you would get this kind of like paint rub off, or like paint from another figure, you know? That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like a really good job at paint shading. It looks like a figure abuse, you know? Action figure abuse. That's what it looks like. But, you know, if you turn her around and you look at the face sculpt, and like I said, the paint for the face looks spot on. It looks great. It looks fantastic. I really like the eyes. The eyes are centered. Her head crest or crown or whatever you want to call that, that looks really well done. All the whites match. All the blues match pretty well. This might be a little bit darker of a metallic right here, but I think it helps flow with the others. It doesn't look hazy. It doesn't look shoddy. It looks crisp and clean. There's a little bit of sloppiness right here on the boots. It's just stuff I'm pointing out. Like I said, it is some stuff. So, but I like the back of the cape. The cape looks very well done, nicely sculpted and everything. So there you go. It's just that hair. Whoa. What were you thinking? I don't know. But anyway, let's get into articulation. Her head can move back, not really at all. Her head can move forward. She's got some jive turkeys up in here. There you go. Her head can also tilt side to side. Her crown is also a little bit of a pliable plastic. Oh, is it coming off here? Oh, God. It's like coming off. Let me see if this side's doing... Oh, it does. Okay, so it's just a very pliable plastic. I might actually glue that to the side of her head. Not really sure why I have to glue that. Come on, Hasbro. Get your shit together, bro. This is on a separate piece here, so if you take the head off, you can remove the cape as well. The arms go up about that far. They go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm. A single jointed elbow, which is more than 90 degrees. Swivel at the elbow, swivel at the wrist, hinge joint on both sides, that they mirror each other. And then we're going to crunch back, and we're going to crunch forward, and we're going to pivot, side to side. We're going to do the swivels. Then we're going to splittity split. We're going to swivel at the upper thigh, swivel at the middle thigh, double jointed knees, point the toe, point the heel, 2 peg holes. Bye-bye. Okay, and last up we have Shaman, and he is my favorite in the set. While he's simplistic, I like his paint apps the best. I think they nailed the character. And overall, I like the new sculpting of his little tunic. I like the use of the Bucky Cat body mold, which is still one of my favorites. I don't know what pose this is. He was doing a pose a second ago, but then he stopped. He was like, I quit. I really like the new head sculpt. Looks very well done. Like I said, the line work looks pretty decent. It's not the best with any of these figures in this box set, unfortunately, but I want to say he's one of the better in the set as well. I still like the Bucky Cat body mold. I don't care what people say. I know a lot of people want it gone and they want a new one instead, but I think it still works for a lot of different characters that are in this kind of middle body. Like I said, the paint apps on him are one of the better ones, at least for mine. Some of the line work gets a little bit weird. I want to say, let me see. Well, there's a little bit of QC issue right there. I'm just pointing it out. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. The tunic piece right here, it's a little bit off-centered. That will bother some people, I'm sure, out there. It doesn't really bother me too much. I'm just pointing it out. If something really bothers me, I will just let you know. But the boots are just a yellow plastic, green plastic for the legs, We've got a yellow plastic for the tunic / belt piece. This is all just sculpted plastic. And then we have green for the paint apps for the rest of the tunic here. This is just a gold color for the wristband, which is a separate wristband, which makes me think that you can remove these hands and then remove these gauntlets as well. The upper torso piece is just green. He's pretty much just a green guy right here. But the skin tones on the neck and the head do match perfectly. I really like the eyes. He's got the best eyes in the set, I think. And they are centered properly. I really like the sculpt of this. I mean, he's supposed to look like a Native American, and he does. I like the high cheekbones. He just looks strong. He looks heroic. I love it. Looks fantastic. Little bit of a quality control concern right here, but that's just a black plastic. I can paint over that. It's not the end of the world. A little bit of splotching right there on the headpiece. Not the end of the world. Again, I'm just pointing it out for those people to look out for in their box set if you can. I know it's in a box, so it'd be hard to see if you have that issue. But I actually really like him. I don't have too many gripes. I mean, I have gripes with all of these figures because they're not the best as far as quality control goes. But I want to say they're a little bit better than the X-Men box set as far as that goes. Because that was just real. Oh man, that was pretty bad. As far as his articulation does go, let me adjust my camera here. Sorry about that. Full 360 rotation in the head if you need it to. The head does look up like so. So you can get him to look up. And it does look down. And it does pivot side to side. We'll see. We got some jive turkeys. Oh, we got extreme jive turkeys. Extreme Championship turkeys. So there you go, turkeys. Arms go up, arms go down, full 360 rotation in the arm, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. A little bit stiff in the elbow, but your typical Bucky Cat body mold, double jointed elbow. Wrist swivel, wrist hinge, which does mirror on the other side, so same sort of articulation range of motion on the other side. Ab crunch does go back, and there is a gap, and the sculpting does not continue. Crunch goes forward, and the sculpt paint does not continue as a gap. Just to point that out to those of you that think consider that important. Waist swivel. He does have T-jointed hips, which get him to do splits about that far, which is kind of poo-poo. Legs go forward, legs go back, upper thigh swivel. He does have a double jointed knee. Boot swivel, points to heel, points to toe, 2 peg holes, ankle pivot. So that's pretty much it for Shaman. I like the head sculpt, the new head sculpt. I like the paint apps on him overall. I like the tunic piece. This is all new sculpted piece. The rest of the body and everything else is pretty much just a reuse though. But the paint apps look the best on him. And I really like the green and I like the yellow. Really cool color scheme. Like it. Okay, and we're back with the entire team assembled here, and it is nice to have the entire Alpha Flight team here and present. Finally, this box set, while it is, I'm going to be honest with you, kind of lackluster. No accessories. The paint apps on some are better than others, I guess. But when you're comparing maybe to the all-new X-Men box set, but you know, some of the eyes are messed up on them. Some of the paint apps are very inconsistent with the whites. It's mostly the whites and the reds. The whites and the reds are really hindering this box set from being something really, really, really special. I think it does give you a little bit of a bland taste in your mouth. I'm just being honest. I'm giving you my perspective. Obviously, it's subjective, but I did point out the facts, which are some of the paint apps are very inconsistent. I don't like the haziness of the white paint apps, or the whether it's the whites hitting the black paint apps or the the reds hitting the whites. It's throwing something off there, and it's been kind of going on with Marvel Legends for quite a while. You'll see it with some of the older Spider-Man figures as well, with, like, let's say maybe Spider-Girl in her black and white suit, or Spider-Woman in her black and white suit, excuse me. You'll see it with that. Some of the haziness with white plastics, it just doesn't work out for some reason. But that's just a fact of the matter. That is what an issue is with this. I do have some issues with some loose joints. It's probably just my box set. Like I said, some of the eyes aren't lined up. But I am happy to have the team. I don't know if this is worth $100, to be honest with you. Like I said, no accessories. Essentially, you are getting the whole team. You're getting the female Vindicator, which is something a lot of people were clamoring for. But she's got some of the worst paint apps in the box set, I want to say, as far as that's concerned. The reason why I put Puck first, as far as the one I cared about the least, which I actually think most of his paint apps, besides his eyes, are well done. I already had the Puck Build-A-Figure piece, or Build-A-Figure, so I didn't really need this one, so I didn't really care for it that much. But I will say I do like his paint apps, besides the eyes, better on the box set version. And I like the new sculpted head. Like I said, but overall, I would say if I have to pick the worst one, it's definitely Vindicator is the worst out of that. And she's much worse with the inconsistent whites as opposed to, let's say, Guardian. Guardian was kind of had that inconsistent white issue where I feel like if they would have just went with their original looks, like the more glossy metallic red, it would have fixed a lot of those issues, as opposed to going with just like a flatter red, where she's actually got a darker red than Guardian. That's the route I would have went instead. But they do look good next to each other. It's nice to have Guardian and Vindicator next to each other. It's nice to have the brother and sister combo. It's nice to have Shaman. It's nice to have Snowbird, and it's nice to have the entire team and Sassafras. Sassafras in the back. It seems like with Marvel Legends, with their box sets, it seems like the quality does go down a little bit. So maybe wait for this to go on sale. I would like to assume, hindsight is always 20/20, but I would like to assume that this might drop in price. And I think if you wait, you could probably pick it up for around $80. Maybe it'll drop even further, like the all new X-Men box set did. But just be aware of Northstar, be aware of Vindicator, and be aware of some of the issues like the loose joints on Snowbird. And that's really all I can say for now. It's a mediocre box set. It's really not all that great. The hype is always, for some reason, I don't know why, but for me, I feel like the hype is always bigger than the actual product that you get from Marvel Legends. While their movie figures are fantastic, their comic book figures just kind of, I don't know what it is. It's just they don't have that oomph that you want them to have. They look like the comic book characters, yes, but the paint apps, I don't know whether it's all the budget gets put into the movie figures and the budget is less for the comic book figures. I don't know what it is, but me being a Marvel Legends comic book action figure collector, I want my comic book figures to have a little bit better quality control and have some of those issues go away. But that's just my opinion. It's just an opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If I would I recommend this box set? I would say wait for a sale. That's what I would say. That's the best recommendation I can give you. Other than that, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.